Good morning. Today is another great Saturday. Um, so today we're gonna have another live episode of Eat to Focus. So welcome if you're watching live or if you're watching on a replay. Hi, welcome to be here. So we just get started. Um, we're running a bit late, but I'll try to be more on time in the future. So um, I did went into the group this morning and look at some questions inside. So I'm going to address some of the questions and the comment. So before we start, I want to send out this invitation to all of you watching live or on replay that I have a small tight group that I'm limiting to only 10 parents. This group is specifically for parents who have kids with ADHD who wants to be who wants to have a more supportive environment, be around other parents who knows exactly what you're going through, get some like really good emotional support and some group coaching to help you develop some better parenting skills to help your child with ADHD. Because sometimes you might read a lot of other parenting book and they give you really good advice, but you're like, well, it doesn't quite work for my kids with ADHD. So this is what the group for. Give you a very supportive environment, some group coaching to help you develop some very specific strategies and skills to help you become better parents for your kids with ADHD, and also to help you reduce some of that overwhelm because your child is a little bit different, and also the feeling that you're being a bad parent because you have to yell at them all the time. And I have that same feelings many years ago when with my daughter, I always felt like a bad parent because I feel like the only way I can get her to do anything is to yell, but I'm not a yelling person. I just don't like that. So, but yeah, that will be a grip for you if you're struggling with like getting your kids to do things that you want or to help them success. So let's start with some of the group comments. So, um, feel interesting thing with the group this week is that I think was it this week or the last week prior is there was a kind of a very negative comment in the group, and I want to address that because this is kind of unusual because one of the rules in the group is that you have to be kind, you have to be nice, you cannot like say mean things. So this comment was very mean, very rude, but I kind of let it go and I'll explain why. Let me pull up and just read it out to you. I might have to blurb out some words because there's some swear words in it, and I, I don't want to have said that examples. Here. So I'm not going to name the name, but this person started out with I'm 15 and have autism. I have to say this group, like capital this group is the biggest load of horse poopy I've I've ever blah blah blah. That's the blank, the swear word. Seeing you people are the dumbest people on earth, and I feel genuinely bad for all you kids. Okay, so I want to start out with thanking everyone who commented on this post because this is a very, I know is very offensive post, but I want to thank you all who commented with like all this being so compassionate, being so kind to this person. And the reason why I did not delete this post is because I feel sorry for this person posting it. He's only 15 years old and he like you can see just reading that post there's so much anger in him. I just feel sorry that someone so young have so much anger in him and also being so close-minded. And I love it how our group, the members in our group just show up with so much love and compassion and like not trying to reply back with the same kind of anger and hatred. So I want to thank you all for that. And and I read through a lot of the comments in that post, and a lot of it is like just sharing your own experience without trying to make this person like feel bad. And then actually, I thought it was funny because there's actually someone replied back and forth with this person, and they actually get a smile out of him. So I thought that was cute because the thing is he's only 15 years old, so definitely, and with autism and and I think he have ADHD as well. So he probably felt very different from his peers, feel different, feel inadequate. So I can see that anger. And plus, 15-year-olds, they're generally kind of in that phase where they're kind of like bipolar. And I'm not saying that in general. I'm just saying that from my own experience because when my daughter was that age, I just joke about it with my friend. I didn't tell it to her in her face, but I joke about with her friends. I was like, she seems like she had bipolar. One minute she's super nice and sweet, and then another minute she's just all angry like an evil. I felt like I'm walking on eggshell every day at home. And I told my friend every time before I start talking to my daughter, ask for anything, I'll spend like a few minutes trying to compose the sentence that I was going to ask her in, like to make it in a way that the sentence and the words that I use doesn't offend her. So that's how bad it was. So like I said, I just feel sorry for this guy, and I just want to thank you everyone who have commented in this post with such kindness and love for this person. So we and it's something that I think us as a whole um, society and as human needs to understand that sometimes when people are angry at you is not because something that you did, and obviously we are all in this group for the same reason. You want to learn more natural alternative option, and and I think we have accomplished this because our group is growing. We're almost, I think, 15,000 people member in the group. So we have a lot of evidence to support that natural alternative treatment do work and help a lot. Medication is still an option, but we always reserve medication as last resort because of the side effects to that. Some people might do really well on medication, great for you, but other people like us, including myself, I prefer a more natural approach. And that's because of my experience working as a pediatric dietitian, seeing all the side effects in children, and I just don't want that for my own child. So that's the whole reason I created the book and also created this Facebook group for people to interact with each other and learn from each other. Okay, so thank you very much. So that's something I want to put out there, and just continue to be kind to everyone because people, angry people is gonna be always angry. It doesn't matter what we do or what we say. Like with this kid, like the how angry he is. Even if I give him $1 million, he probably gonna find some ways to be angry and get upset about. So I learned in my life that you can say and do whatever, just being yourself. There's always someone gonna be upset with your choice of words, what you say, what you do, what you wear, how you look, and everything. But the most important thing is your own opinion of who you are. How you dress, how you say, how you talk is your opinion. How people take it is their own choices. And and I can give you like a really cute example. So um, before COVID, I used to give out stickers to all my kids um, patient when they come, like the young kids, they love stickers, right? So every time they come and when they leave, I always let them pick a stickers. And then one day, like usually they love the stickers, and one day this particular child start crying when I hand him the sticker, and I was like, oh my god, what did I do wrong? So the parents was like apologizing, no, you didn't do anything wrong. He just thinks that when he get a sticker, he's gonna get a shot. So that reminds me that, oh, okay, everyone takes have different meaning to different things. And then there's this other example, like kids are super cute. Like you can be the best parents, do all the same thing, but sometimes kids can still take things the wrong way. Um, it was actually more recently. I can't remember how old the child, like maybe 4 or something like that. It was actually one of our feeding patients in the feeding clinic, um, and a lot of the kids that we see in the feeding clinic who have feeding issue, feeding aversion, they tend to have a lot of sensory thing and also the personality as well. There's a lot of power struggle, and they think of things differently, right? They got to, because if they're super picky about things, so they're more um, cognitively aware. I'll say maybe it works. So the parents reported an incident. I can't remember how old she was when that happened, but you know how when little kids, when like during first couple of years, they have a lot of shots, and usually for little babies, like as adult, we usually get the immunization on our arms, but usually kids get them on their thighs. So yeah, probably when she was a lot younger. Um, yeah, so the parents like is I thought it was cute, and the parents thing was cute too because when they're telling the stories again, the parents both parents was just laughing and giggling. So the child, she said that, or the parents said that when the child was little and have to get one of her immunization shots on the leg, most children will still get traumatized, right? Most kids like, oh my God, there's a needle, it hurts, right? So they'll cry, but then they'll stop after when they get the stickers or the lollipop after. But then the parent says, with this child, she was like so traumatized. She's like, my leg is broken, my leg is broken. So the parent says, literally for 2 weeks, this child refused to walk, even though the child was completely capable and can walk at that age, but because she get when she get that shot in her leg, she persuaded herself that her leg is broken because she get a shot in her leg. So she refused to walk for 2 weeks. And like I thought was kind of cute that a child can have that kind of thinking to believe in that, right? So again, it's every child is different. Every child takes situation differently. And we know it's not because the parents like creating these crazy stories around this kid, right? Because this is actually the second or the third child. They didn't have this same experience with the previous kid. So we know that it is this child that is a little bit different, think and process things differently. So just want to throw that out that every one of us think of things differently. We can say the same thing and I have different people react to it. So that's just how it is, and we just need to be more compassionate. And even like angry people, a lot of times when I see people who put negative or angry comments, you can feel that energy, feel that comment, and you know that these people are actually suffering. When someone put an angry comment or um, um, angry comment, it's not because they're angry at you or angry at the things that I post. It's because they're angry at themselves. Like I post the same thing for like 15,000 people in the post, but then most of the people enjoy the post, but then there's like a handful of people who are just so angry. So I was like, well, I didn't do anything differently to this different people. I just put out this post that I thought will be very helpful to the 15,000 people, 15,000 members in the group. And then there's a handful that think that I'm stupid or I'm crazy or I'm just being unreasonable. So I was like, okay, I don't know what I did, but anyway, so just to put out there, always live your life with peace and kindness and love because that's what the world needs most right now. So if we want to have a better world for our children, be kind to each other, even to people who are angry and upset and complain all the time because these are the people who needs that love and kindness the most. Okay. All right, let's get started. So today I actually want to talk about some parent struggles because that's something that I saw most and people are answering because well obviously we're the purpose of this group is to really help everyone here. Well, I might not be able to help every single person, but I'm sure if someone have like that urgency or that inclination to put a post out, someone else probably have the same issue. So I'm just going to talk about, let me say I have 5 points here written down. But let me just talk quickly. So start with like closest to my heart as most of you know, I'm a dietitian, specifically a pediatric dietitian. So eating, getting kids to eat is like the one of the um, biggest struggle that most parents deal with, and that's also one of my specialty as well is working with picky eaters. Um, yeah, so a lot of parents, even though they're in this group trying to learn all these alternative ways to help with ADHD, the number one thing that I advocate inside my group is really to dial in and maximize the nutritional intake first. Because the reason why, if you look at it, and it's not just because I'm a dietitian and I always push healthy eating. It's just that we need to think about our body as a machine, right? It's just like your phone, your phone here. This is a smartphone, but how smart can your phone be when your power is always in the low power level, right? So we need to make sure that the body is well fed first. When the body is well fed, the brain is well fed, then the brain can function at full 100%. You know how when your phone, like you using it, and then you forgot to charge it, and then like a lot of times when I'm watching movie on my phone, and then the most annoying thing is like suddenly the movie stops, and then there's this notification saying that oh your battery is low, you need to switch or something. So they give you a warning at 20%, right? and then and then when you don't do anything, then maybe a little bit later another notice come out like oh you only have 10% left, you better charge your phone now, right? So your body is the same thing. When your body is not well fed because you're either not feeding your body enough or feeding your body the wrong fuel, it's going to affect the function. And your function of the body includes the whole thing: your brain, your lungs, your intestine, your muscles, um, your liver, your kidneys, and your bladder. So all of the organ functions is going to be compromised if your body is not well fed. That's the reason why I advocate that. The issue is that in conventional medicine, when you talk to a doctor, psychiatrist, any kind of like these kind of mental um, disease, mental illnesses, or things like that, the way they talk about it is like, oh yeah, it just happens to you like that. Like you just wake up one day, you have ADHD, anxiety, and depression, but they don't really look at the lifestyle of this person, right? Like, even though in my book I don't talk too much about the psychology of it, but some of you might have noticed that over the last year, I actually start talking more about the psychology of some of this behavioral issue. Is like we don't just develop ADHD or just have like anxiety or depression just like that just because we're born with it, right? If we're born with it, then you'll see those depression like the moment that we're born, like you'll see a depressed baby, but I don't think I've ever seen a depressed baby ever. Babies are always, always, always happy. But there is, in some cases, depressed and unhappy babies, and usually those are the ones I've seen. Babies who are malnourished for whatever reason is not usually because, well, there are a few incidents I've seen where parents either intentionally or unintentionally underfed a baby and causing failure to thrive, and a lot of times those babies look sad. Like like I if you if you remember or if you've been following me for a while, I've been a pediatric dietitian for like over 20 years now. I see babies every single day and all babies are happy, but starving babies look sad. Like that's the reason why a lot of times parents like, oh, do I need to bring my kid or my baby to the appointment? I was like, yes, I need to look at the baby, because if the baby comes to my office and I look at the baby doesn't look me in the eye or smile at me, something is wrong with that baby. So I want to look at those kind of things. But yeah, when you're underfed, you're just not as happy. Just like your phone, when your phone is at 20%, 10% battery, it shuts down certain function, like the lights dim down, and some function is like, okay, you can watch this video, but you only can watch so long, and I'm going to shut down, right? So same thing with your body. When you're feeding your body the wrong kind of food, wrong kind of nutrition, or not enough of certain nutrients, your body, there's going to be some function being compromised. It could be your brain, could be your digestion, could be your immunity, could be any variety of the function that your body do day in and day out. or could even be sleep. People don't realize that when they can't fall asleep at night or keep waking up at night, it could be because some nutrients is missing in the body. That's something that we also have to consider as well, because when it comes to sleep, we just think that our body is have a light switch that you just flip that switch and you go to sleep, but it's not. It's just like any other brain function. Some kind of brain chemicals have to come up in levels, and another one goes down to bring that sleep in to for the sleep to happen. So that's why eating is very important, and I don't focus only on eating because I also incorporate a lot of supplements along with the specific diet for the ADHD. So their food, when it comes to eating for ADHD, we need to look for food sensitivity, because sometimes food can trigger some of the behavioral reaction. People often think that when it comes to food allergy or any kind of allergy, they're only looking for physical manifestation, but that's only part of the story. When you're reacting to your environment, when you're not feeling good because certain food triggers some sensitivity in your body, you could have behavioral manifestation as well. Like um, like say this past week, um, I actually wasn't feeling well this past 2 weeks. So I think it's the weather in Hawaii. If you're in Hawaii, you might have noticed the weather's not too bad. Or if you also have asthma and allergies, you notice that your symptoms is really getting worse. Like the last 2 weeks, and actually I didn't realize until the last few days that I was actually experienced COVID symptoms, but not as bad as the last time I had COVID. So I was just not myself at all. Every day I was just so tired. I was coughing, and I can't control my cough. So I thought this whole time was allergies. I was super tired. I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. And then finally, like a few days ago, I decided that maybe I should check and see if I have COVID. And boom, I was positive. So whenever your body is not feeling well for whatever reason, you can have a virus, a cold, ate something that your body doesn't sit well with, any of those not only affect you physically but also can affect your energy level and affect your mood. And again, when it comes to energy level, your your body, okay, your brain's default mood is actually a negative thoughts. Negative thoughts always come automatically. So when your energy level is low, when you didn't have a good night's sleep, you wake up groggy and grumpy. That's the reason why. Because when you don't sleep well, you wake up at a low energy level, and low energy level is where all the negative thoughts comes up. Because in order for you to feel good, it's not something that just happened to you. When you feel good, you gotta have those calming happy hormones like the dopamine and what's the other one, and serotonin. Those, did I say GABA? No, GABA. um, yeah, so the calming hormones. So in order to feel calm and happy, you have to have the calm and happy hormone like oxytocin. Actually, I just listened to David Hamilton talk about oxytocin, oxytocin, the happy hormones that keep humans alive for all these years. So you gotta have like dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, all these happy hormones, happy calming hormones. But when you're low, when your energy is low, or when you're starving, not eating enough, there's not enough resources to make those hormones. So you just have the standard, so you just comes like at the standard factory default setting, which is the negative thoughts. The only way to stop negative thoughts is to raise your energy level, to bring your mood up to a happy level. And you can do that by eating a higher protein diet that gives you the protein to make happy calming hormone. And the other thing is to exercise, not really exercise, but do things with your body in a positive way to generate that happiness feeling, because your body and your mind is connected. Your body your body influence, no, your mind influence your body through brain chemicals, but your brain or your body influence your feelings by movement. So when you move your body in a happy way, then you trigger the body or your brain to make more happy chemicals. It's like a two-way two-way feedback system. So um, eating is one way. So eating the right kind of food, brain calming food, is one way to help boost happy and calming brain chemicals. And some of those healthier food will be things like organic meat. Organ meat, most people don't realize that, and most people think it's the grossest thing. Organ meat, like heart, liver, um, I think those are the main ones that I would eat, the heart and the liver. Um, the organ meat is actually really good for the intestine and actually building some of the brain chemicals. And then of course vegetables and some fruit, mostly vegetables, less fruit, is that the vitamins, minerals, and the fiber in the fruits and vegetables, or an antioxidant in the fruit or the plant food, actually helps to boost all of your body function, including your brain function. Anything that's good for your body, anything that's good for your heart is going to be good for your brain. Just remember that, because the heart pumps all the blood that goes to all the body. If your heart is weak, less nutrients goes to your brain. So heart health is the same as brain health. What else? Nuts and seeds, because those are very, very good sources of um, minerals, vitamins, and of course protein and healthy fats as well. Because your brain is a big chunk of fat, so you want to make sure that you have very healthy fats in your diet. And then, well, I just want to emphasize again, animal protein, organic animal protein. If you can find and afford organic animal protein, go for it. If you can't afford or can't find organic, any kind of animal protein is good. I'm not a big advocate for plant protein because plant protein are not as good, and a lot of the fake meat or processed vegan meat actually cause more damage than benefit. So stick to animal protein, especially with kids or anyone with mental illnesses, because you do need that specific amino acid profile from animal protein to help create the brain chemicals. So um, since we're on that topic, so I want to put out this thing to for you people out there listening who wants to have better brain health, is that understanding mental illness just doesn't happen. We need to help mental illness. If you if we actually believe that what pharmaceutical company told us is that brain any kind of mental illness is a brain chemical imbalance. There's some truth to it, but then the pharmaceutical company go further, saying that this chemical imbalance can't only be treated or resolved with the medication that they make, and you need that medication for life. And I disagree with that. There is there is some truth to the fact that mental illness could be an imbalance or a lacking of some brain chemicals, but we need to ask smarter, more intelligent question: is where are these chemicals coming from? Why are these chemicals low? Is it really a genetic thing that we're not making enough? And even if that's the case, how can we make our body to make more of that brain chemicals? The reason why I'm able to think like that is because of my background as a pediatric dietitian. Because I have a lot of experience working with kids with very, 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 very rare genetic disorder. So I learned, so part of my job, I need to understand a lot of the biochemistry of how the body and how the cells work. And a lot of times, how I help these kids with these rare genetic disorder is understanding where the mutation happened, which protein is being affected, and how I can use that to bypass the defective biochemical pathway. So kind of my thinking process. So when someone told me, oh yeah, when you have ADHD or you have depression, you have anxiety because some of your brain chemicals is not working because maybe a gene is missing or maybe a pathway is broken, my automatic response is how I can bypass that biochemical pathway. And I'm not going to go too much into biochemistry and all of those things, but for those of you who have a chemistry background or biochemistry background, you'll understand this. When a pathway is slow or broken, you can always push the substrate or the ingredients to push the reaction to move faster a little bit or to push the process a little bit more. Um, but that's where I come from is that if we know chemicals can be low in the body, doesn't quite matter what's the cause. But if I put more of the ingredients in it, eventually your body will have to um, what you call that to upregulate the reaction to produce more to make that reaction works a little bit harder. Because say if it's a defect in the factory, say usually some people have like 10 factory to make this hormone or make this chemical, but for whatever reason in your body you only have 8 of those factory to make those hormone. All I need to do is push the function of the 8 functioning ones to speed up their production to make the same amount. I hope that kind of explains it. But that's how I think, and that's how I help here, and that's the reason why I don't just focus on food. I also use a lot of supplements to help boost some of that reaction. So, but anyway, that's kind of my take on the eating part of the ADHD. So let's look at the next thing. Let's see. Oh, let's touch on this one. So there are a couple comments in the Facebook group talking about how parents feel inadequate because they saw their friends posting like their kids' achievement and things like that. And I know, like in social media, like we often talk about how social media is making some of us feel very sad and inadequate because people posting all these amazing things like, oh my God, my kid just got a first place award here, blah blah blah. And I was like, and me too. Like I get all these like um um video telling me that, oh, I'm a coach, I'm this and that. I made like 50,000 in like first month here, blah blah blah. And like every day we just felt like we're being bombarded with all these messages saying that, wow, this person is like doing like achieving all the things that I want so easily. But at me here, I felt like I'm struggling and still not going anywhere. Felt like I'm drowning when in all these things. Every day I'm working, 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 and nothing seems to work, right? So you kind of feel inadequate in some ways. But I have two take on this. One is that we need to look at ourselves and really truly ask ourselves if we are really not doing enough, right? Because we need to understand that we all, yeah, yeah, that's part of the thing. People just want to post things because we need to really ask ourselves: Are we really inadequate? Are we really not doing enough? And are we really on the same path? Because a lot of times, like even actually it's something that I was dealing with on my own recently. I realized that among all my friends, I'm probably the least successful one if looking at income wise. Like all my friends are like millionaires, have their own business, they can live anywhere they want in the world. But I was like, I'm this little tiny dietitian working in a hospital, right? And that makes me feel inadequate. But then I was like, but wait a minute. But I'm like really good friends with these people. So that means that in in a sense, part of me is I'm as good as them. It's just not reflecting in the income, right? So we have to kind of understand that we all have our own different journey. Everyone started out differently. And and then of course I didn't tell you that all of my friends are a lot older, right? Like I'm the youngest one, like I'm the baby in the group. So I have to be true to myself and give myself a true, authentic um, assessment is that, hey, these people are like 10, 20 years ahead of me, right? So I just can't compare myself to them. But what I can do is learn from them, right? And these people are super nice. I love all my friends. Like they're just so generous people, just so happy and helpful. So then for people looking at like social media, like someone here mentioned that, oh yeah, that's false book, which is in a sense something very true, right? Because we need to ask, why are these people posting all of these things, right? Even though like you have couples or parents or people posting all these amazing things, oh yeah, I'm like, I'll see some of my friends or other people posting like, oh yeah, I'm at Chanel store today, or I'm at Dior buying my first Chanel or Dior. I was like, why are you even posting that, right? Like, so we also have to look into the purpose of these people, why they're posting that. Like if you're posting something that, oh my god, I'm so happy my child get an award, blah blah blah. So that's great, right? Like sometimes when something happy in our life happen, we want to share with our family. So yeah, we should celebrate that with them. But then when someone's like posting, oh yeah, I just pick up my Mercedes today. Oh, I'm at the Dior store buying this and that. Like to me, those are things that like I'll agree with you. That will be more like a false book thing, right? Like just little things that I don't think, like I feel happy for you that you make enough money to buy your Mercedes or buy your Porsche or get like these fancy things from like all these expensive stores, but ultimately really what's the purpose of that for posting, right? Like so you just want someone to say, oh wow, she or him is like so successful, they must be really doing well. But again, we always have to look behind all of those posts, right? Because they probably struggling a lot with like self-esteem too. Because when you look at um, like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with buying expensive stuff or things like that, but it's like, again, is what's your purpose of buying that, right? So actually, like um, I just have this conversation with my daughter the other day. So, so I was like telling her, oh yeah, I just went to my allergist appointment. I was telling my daughter, like, my allergist, her wrist have like at least three or four of the bracelet from Cartier. So I was telling her that, oh, I want to get a Cartier too, right? So that was me thinking like, oh, but I don't want to spend like $6,000 buy a Cartier bracelet when I know it's not worth 6,000. And then I was telling my daughter, did you know you can go to Alibaba and get an exactly same looking Cartier bracelet, the Love Lock, for only $5? And my daughter was like, why would you want to get a fake one? I was like, why not? People probably don't think that I'm wearing a real one anyway. And like, it's all perception, right? Like, people think that, oh yeah, if I wear something very expensive or drive a very expensive car, people will think of me differently, right? People will think that, oh my God, she have a very nice car. Oh my God, look at all the designer clothes and designer jewelry that she's wearing. She must be super smart, super wealthy. But I was like, no, that's not the case. I just want it because it looks nice and I like the meaning of the love lock. Because that bracelet, you actually have to use a screwdriver to screw it on. It doesn't come off. So, but I was telling her like, I don't want to pay 6,000, but I can get the same thing from Alibaba for $5. And then my daughter disagreed with me, but I actually persuaded her later. So I was like, okay, I see a lot of people who doesn't have money, but then they'll buy all these expensive looking things, right? Like, and I was asking her, when someone who doesn't have money and they don't have money, but then you saw them wearing an expensive purse or wearing expensive bracelet from like Tiffany or Louis Vuitton or Dior or any of those, those are fake. Or even if it's not fake, even if they were a real one, you'll always question that that's going to be a fake one because they can't afford it, right? So it's really not what you wear that matters, it's who you are that matters. So then I was like, it doesn't matter. I have the money. I can spend the 6,000 if I want, but I just don't want to spend $6,000 on a bracelet. And because I don't need to have a bracelet to show that I'm good enough. Like I can wear whatever. Like if people who like if you know me, I don't dress that nice. Like I dress very casual all the time, and I get yelled at by my boyfriend because he's like, "Why are you wearing that when you go out? Why can't you wear something nicer?" So we're in Hawaii. Who cares? Um, but anyway, so the idea is that when you feel bad, when someone posts something like that, we need to ask ourselves deeper, is it a fair comparison, comparing you to this person or comparing your child to this person? And the other thing I also want to mention is there are two books that might help you with that, um, especially talking about in in the area of ADHD, a lot of people with ADHD tends to be late bloomers. And those of you who are parents with kids with ADHD, you know that in your kids, our kids tends to be more immature, like a few years more immature. And I'm not saying in a bad things. And I also noticed that for myself as well. Like I'm going to be 47 this year, but I felt like I'm still a baby compared to a lot of my friends. Like I said, a lot of my friends, like my really close friends, they're all very successful, very wealthy people, but I felt like I'm behind them. But which is fine, right? Like someone you don't have to be the best in your friends. You're the average of the people that you're around, right? So I'm happy around being my friends. They don't ever make me feel inadequate. So but that feeling is just me feeling inadequate around that because I felt like, oh my God, all my friends are like multi-million dollars, billionaires, and all of those, but I'm just here like a tiny little dietitian trying to start my own business. So, and my friend always remind me, I've been doing this for like 20 years now. You're just starting, so just be patient. So yeah, so you just need to understand that we're not all on the same journey. We start our journey a little bit faster, a little bit later. And like I said, there's a really good book uh, over here called Bloomers. I actually bought this book last year. I haven't even have time to read it because this guy, this author, what's your name? Rick, Rich Cargard. Okay, Rich, if you're listening, you need to have this book on Audible because I just can't have time to sit and hold this book for a couple hours. If it's on Audible, I will have finished this book like in like a couple hours. Um, anyway, so you need to have a more intelligent comparison of yourself, okay? And and then also looking at like if it was you, if you switch place with this person, if it was you posting a happy post, sharing with your friends and family that some great achievement about your child, how would you want your friends and family to react to this post of yours, right? If you share something happy, you feel so joyful, you want to share with your friends and family. You want them to be happy for you too. So think of it that way as well. Okay? So don't compare to yourself. Oh, another thing, just this morning, I was listening to an interview on Dr. What's his name? Dr. Gabor Mate. He is I think he's a psychiatrist. Not exactly sure if he is a child or pediatric psychiatrist. I actually just recently discovered his um his teachings, and he has a new book that just came out called The Myth of Normal, and he talks about how as a society we're so focusing on normal, and actually some of the normal is actually hurting us. So I didn't finish the whole interview, but it's something that if you're interested, you can go on YouTube. He just have an interview with Team Bayu. That just came out, I think, a few weeks ago. So you can Google, search that on YouTube. It's really amazing. I love how he talks about how a lot of us um, grow up feeling inadequate. It's not because of what not because of how we're born, but it's just the society conditioning. So that's that. And then, um, you know what? Let me just talk about one more thing. Um, let's see which one. Okay, Another common that parents talk about or struggle that parents talk about is having to constantly remind the kids to do chores and I mean reminding yeah chores and getting having to remind them all the time. Um, it's just something that we all as parents have to deal with, whether your kids have ADHD or not. It's just that sometimes with kids with ADHD, it seems to be exaggerated because I think when we have that idea that our kids have ADHD, there's something wrong with our kids, we see the problem as a lot more severe than it is. Um, and I have that struggle, and my daughter still have that struggle. And I always, and I talk with my friends a lot about this because her daughter have ADHD. And I often ask is like, pick the battle that is worth fighting for. Like when my daughter was growing up, when she was little, getting her to take a shower, take a bath is hard. Getting her brush her teeth is hard. Getting her to clean her room is hard. But I only have so much energy and I want to preserve the relationship with her. I don't want her to grow up and all she remembers from her childhood is that I'm always not good enough because I'm not cleaning my room, I'm not taking a shower, I'm not brushing my teeth, and my mom is constantly nagging me. I don't want her to have those kind of memories. So I have to pick my battle. Is it okay that she lived like a slob and have clothes all over her room on the floor? Is that okay with me? Is that going to damage her when she becomes an adult with a dirty room? And my answer is no. She probably can survive with a dirty room, and if she go to college and have a roommate, that's not my issue anymore. It's the issue with her roommate. And if my daughter really cares, eventually she'll find a reason to clean up her room, and which she did. Um, and then the other thing, taking a bath or taking a shower every night. Is this something that I want to yell my daughter, hurting myself, hurting her, hurting our relationship every night just to get her to shower every night? Is it okay that she go to school without shower a couple times a week? Can she survive that? Yes. So I let that go. So I let go the battle of making her clean her room all the time, letting go the power struggle of making her shower. But how about brushing teeth? Can I let that go? Is it going to hurt her in the long run, not brushing teeth? Yes, that's going to hurt her in the long run because she's going to have a lot of cavity. She's going to have a lot of pain going through painful dental procedures because I went through the same thing. So I don't want her to went through the same thing. So that is the battle that I picked. So every night I nag her to brush her teeth. Okay, so that was the battle I choose, and I gave up on the ones to make her shower, and I gave up on the ones that make her clean her room. Because my thinking process is, if she not shower long enough and she start to smell, even though I kept telling her, she won't listen to me, but she'll listen to her friends. Her friends gonna be like, "What's that smell? Like Cass, why you smell like that?" Right? Then she becomes more conscious that she'll shower for her friends, not for me, right? So, and which I think some of you might think, but why would she let her do that? Let me tell you, she showers every day now without anyone telling her. She showers sometimes even 2 times a day. Okay, so it's not is not that important to force your child to do something that is not going to hurt them. They'll find reason to do it on their own. But brushing teeth, yeah, when they're little, the parent will have to push it. So that's something to think about is what energy do you want to focus or where you want to focus your energy on and what do you try to do, right? All of us here, being loving parents, all we want is the best for our kids. All we want is to love our kids, to let our kids know how much we love them and we're there for them. So we need to pick the right battle, right? So obviously, if your child doesn't want to clean the room or doesn't want to shower, there's probably good reason to do that. Just ask yourself, okay, do you really enjoy cleaning your room, right? So your child might be the same thing, but forcing them to do it is not going to help the situation. So focus your energy on something that is more worthy of your energy. And then the other thing about reminding, like constantly having to remind them, this is something that I learned from another parent because I was like, oh my God, I can't get my child to do anything. I felt like the only way that I can get her to listen is when I get upset. Like, not just like upset, like that upset. Like my my default my yeah, my devil side have to come out, like my horns have to come out, and my eyes turn red, that kind of angry, in order for her to listen and do something. That's really seriously. I was like, what's wrong with my child? Why would she only listen when I have to get upset? Why can't she just do something when I was still nice and ask her in a nice voice, right? So that all part is like parenting and setting boundaries and all of those. But I'm not going to talk about that. But I'm just going to talk about something really simple. Sometimes our kids just not listening to us. And it's not because they're being disrespectful, it's probably because they're just hyper focused on whatever they're doing. And also, every person learns differently. Some kids are more visual learner, so when you say things to them, it goes this way and come the other way, and that's totally true. So for if you notice that your child is more of a visual learner, write it down on post-it notes, like put it on this. Just remind them, hey, don't forget that you have like a tennis match at this time. So at this time, I need you to start getting ready. So you tell them one time, and then you write on a post-it notes and put it on the mirror or something. Then keep reminding them. You just need to understand that it's like with kids, you just can't expect that to tell them something one time and they'll carry on the whole thing on their own. You can't even get your spouse, your husband, or your boyfriend to do that. So don't expect your little kids or your kids with ADHD to be able to do that. So just be a little bit more realistic. But I'm not saying that just to let it go, but just knowing that none of us is able to do that. Like, okay, I probably can't give you any example because I probably forget all the things that I'm supposed to do. But like all of us have a long list of things that we need to do, but we forget half of those lists if we don't write it down here, right? Most of you have your phone, have like a list of like to-do list. We write it down. So don't expect that you tell your kids something one time and they're gonna do it like an hour later. It's not gonna happen. Just knowing that your child or your spouse or even yourself is not gonna be able to remember that. Just find different ways to deal with it. Post-it notes. I love post-it notes. I have post-it notes everywhere. I have post-it notes in every room with a pen, so that way when something comes up in my mind, I write it down right away before I forget. Okay, so that's kind of like a life hack in a sense, okay? Because we actually call this your external memory. You can have an external memory like that or a notebook that I carry around. So sometimes this brain, people often think that as we get older, we get become more forgetful. That's not true. Like I said, I'm going to be 47 this year, so I have 47 years worth of memory up here. So when you ask me something that happened 20 years ago, it's probably going to take me a little bit of time of digging. But with little kids, like if you're 6 year old, they seem like they remember everything that you did wrong, especially, is because their brain have only a few things hanging out in there. Okay, so um, we just need to once in a while forget a lot of things so we can learn new things. So just be kind to yourself. Okay. So yeah, that's all I have for today. Um, just just more be kind to yourself, ask smarter questions to yourself, and and remember a lot of the feelings that you have when you read someone's post or read things, see things that your friends and family do is really the ideas that comes from you. It has nothing to do with them. But just ask yourself, how can I learn from this experience? That's the main message here. And then again, I'm accepting application for parents who would love to be in this tight, small group of parents struggling with the same thing, supporting each other, and also get like group coaching to learn some new skills, new strategies to dealing with your child with ADHD. We're here for you. So um, DM me with your request, and then we'll start a conversation and see if you're great fit in the group. Because I want to make sure that the people who are in the group is going to be able to benefit the most. Okay, so there we go. And I'll see you all next week again Saturday. Have a very great and wonderful Saturday. Okay, bye. Love you all.